Object-oriented programming, or OOP for short, is a type of programming that is driven by modeling your code around building units called objects. Each object, as the name implies, represents a real-life object in the world around us, like a building, a book, a tree, a car, even a person. No offense, of course. Nowadays, almost every modern programming language you've heard of is object-oriented, including, of course, our beloved Java. The idea is, when you're coding, you want to solve a real-world problem, and modeling your code to match what you're trying to solve makes perfect sense. For example, assume you're building a Pokemon game in Java. Your code would most likely have an object for each of the Pokemon characters, as well as Pokeball objects, an object for each item you can carry, and so on. Each object is responsible for holding the data that describes itself. A Pokemon object, for example, will have a name, a classification, and a number indicating its health level. These are referred to as fields. And along with having fields, objects are also typically capable of performing actions. A Pokemon, for example, can attack, dodge, and evolve. These actions in Java are referred to as methods. Okay, that all sounds fun, but what does that got to do with Java? Great question. Just like creating variables of basic data types like integers and doubles, otherwise known as primitive variables, an object is nothing more than an enhanced data type that you get to design yourself. An integer, for example, can only store a single number, but a Pokemon object can store the Pokemon's name, its classification, how many fights it's won, and much more, all in one single variable. And it can also perform actions using methods. Take that, primitive types. But wait a second, why do people still use those primitive types now? Well, as it turns out, you can't really write any Java code without them, since objects themselves are made up of those primitive types. Sorry, primitive types, you do matter. Okay, so to summarize, the point of objects is to combine variables that go together and make your code much more meaningful. This helps your code become more organized, easier to understand, and maintaining your code is a lot simpler. But also, remember that Java won't even work without objects because, after all, it is an object-oriented programming language.